I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending May the 18th, brought to you in part by VitaFirm Heat, a mineral product by Biozyme. Use VitaFirm Heat to reduce heat stress, combat insects, or any time when grazing fescue pastures. For more information, go to vitafirm.com. The CME index, cash index value, continues to defy gravity. Hanging up there on Friday, which is actually for Thursday's value, and it's a 7-day moving average based on the 800-pound steer, but hanging up there at 133.66, and you just can't hardly get that for an 800-pound steer. Even top quality, even a square load of them. And needless to say, whenever you get some smaller bunches in there, some plainer type steers in there, and then you're averaging those between 700 and 899 pounds, it's hard to believe that they can keep it up there. In contrast, your real-time index on Beef Market Central is sitting there at 125.42, and that's current. That's all the way through Saturday sales. So something's going to give here, and that CME and May contract is going to end here late this week, and it's going to stay very close to that CME index value, but I'm expecting that to fall significantly here the next several days. So keep an eye on that. Maybe an opportunity, but I'm not sure how they could keep it up like that. But let's look at the board for last week. June live cattle futures, tough all the way around on cattle futures all week last week. But June live cattle, Monday was down to limit $3, Tuesday down to $1.65, Wednesday down to $1.15. Thursday we did have a little reprieve there and some trader profit taken there, up $1.22, but pressure back on Friday, down 65 cents, with June live cattle ending the week at 102.40, down $5.22 for the week. Your August ended the week at 98.22. That's for fat cattle here towards the end of this summer. 98.22, down $6.20 for the week. Your August feeder cattle, tough go of it too. Monday was down $3.52. Tuesday was down $1.92. Wednesday down $1.72. Thursday with that same bounce back, up $2 there, but Friday down $1.10 to end the week with August feeder cattle at 137.62, down $6.28 for the week. Your May spot that we've already talked about at 132.22, and your real-time index is at 125.42, and somehow your CME index is hanging up there between 133 and 134, but it's got to fall. But May ending down $6.20 for the week. You look at your corn. I'm not saying it's anything to be really scared about, but your corn contracts, all the Chicago Board of Trade contracts, are trading over $4 a bushel now. Your fats for last week, through Thursday, 91,250 head, and there'll be a little bit more trade on Friday, be close to 100,000 head, but it's really hard to pinpoint where the market was at. We had once again so much trade for that 2 to 4 week delivery. We're not sure what your spot or immediate delivery of fat cattle are trading at on a cash basis. You know, you look at that, and we won't know that until we get the reports out Monday. But so far over the last several weeks here, we've had the largest 2 to 4 week delivery fat cattle bought, negotiated since they started keeping that data like 8 years ago. But it's been running about 30% of your weekly volume has been for that out front delivery, and it's built the wall in front of the wall that we were all scared of, and your cattle feeders could not resist the giant basis, and they fell for it, and it's going to be almost insurmountable to get over now, because the packers just have so much captive supply now, and they barely are going to need any cattle on the spot negotiated trade. but they are really wanting to crank these slaughter levels up, the highest we've seen in years and years. So it's going to be very interesting. But you look at the Thursday trade, the last trade we had, your live sales were all the way from 110 to 117. Yes, likely the 117 from regional packers for premium product. Your 110 for out front delivery. So probably 114 is about the best you could hope for, just on an average pen of cattle in the 5-area feeding region. Through Thursday, your weighted average on live steers was 114.88, and as a whole, that live slaughter cattle market is about $8 lower for the week. Your dress sales 176 to 188. Same deal, you know, your lower end is for out front and the top end's on premium stuff. Probably the best you could hope for cattle for immediate delivery. Up in Nebraska in the northern plains areas, 182 late in the week. It was better than that earlier in the week, of course. But your weighted average on dress steers 184.28, about $10 lower than it was the previous week. Box beef cutout values seem to have kind of hit their ceiling last week on the trade. We did see a little bit of surge in the choice product towards the end of the week, but as a whole, on your average trade for last week, choice cutouts $231.94, up $1.33. Selects down 81 cents at 208.77 on the average trade of last week, with a choice select spread of $23.17 and good movement, 639 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. Look at your slaughter, and like I said, the biggest we've seen, if those are estimates too, what they put out, but they're usually pretty close to the mark, and we'll see within a couple of weeks they get those. But if we hit that 660, that's going to be the biggest slaughter we've had in 7 or 8 years. Not sure we can do that. We're doing that with a lot fewer slaughter plants out there, and they're having to turn those up and run them at a higher capacity than what they're used to. It's a nice time of the year. The employees might rather call in sick rather than watch those carcasses swinging straight out as they come around the corner. But 660,000 for last week. That's with a 67,000 head Saturday, which is the biggest we've seen for a long time. That 660,000 is 15,000 more than an impressive kill just the previous week, and 48,000 more than the same week a year ago. But let's look at your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index, based on the average of 7 to 899 pound steers up through your 12-state region, on automated information, real-time 125.42 to close the week out. That was down $11.23 compared to the real-time index at the end of the previous week. Like I said, there's a big disparage there, almost $8 there between it and the CME index, and normally those two run very, very close together. And with just a few cents difference daily on the average of those since the beginning of the year. But you look at your cash feeder markets in the auctions last week, they were sure $4 to $10 lower, and that full decline was posted late in the week there. And the previous Friday, not this past Friday, but the previous Friday, we did have some impressive Northern Plains sales that was kind of helping those averages stay up there. We didn't see those. Those are kind of running every other week now, and we didn't see very many of those this past Friday, and just not a whole lot to be excited about in your cash feeder market. Pretty much everybody's got the grazing cattle that they need. Almost everybody's got their pastures full or whatever they plan to do, except for some of your small producers might have some little traps to turn some light calves out on. Our feedlots are pretty well full. Your feeder cattle buyers are not really wanting to push the issue. Yeah, if they continue to back the price up a little more, they'll get in and buy them, but they're not going to push the issue. And it looks like from here on out through summer, we don't see a whole lot. Yes, our board is going to be oversold, and we're likely to see a bounce in it over the next 2 to 3 weeks, a little bit. but I'm not sure if your cash market's going to recoil quite as fast as your futures is. And probably the next bump we can see in your cash feeder market would be when they really start trying to buy those double stock grazing cattle in your major grazing areas up through the middle part of the country for late July, their delivery to get those cattle off by the time they have to come off. And they may have to raise the bids a little bit to get those cattle bought, and those are the best feeding cattle of the year, and your feedlots really want to have those, and they really want to have pen space for those cattle because those are the best performing cattle that they can buy. But you look at an individual quote on Saturday there, Fort Scott, Kansas sold a load of 855 pound steers at 127. And that's a look at your week's markets from home auction here, home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.